Only 20 days into the Iran war, the world is already at the verge of total collapse.
War in Iran is making everything more expensive, and the data we got today is pointing towards a potential disaster.
Iran has been true to their promise. It's the evening of the 18th of March. As I mentioned in my last video, Iran declared they would strike Gulf monarchy energy infrastructure in response to Israeli strikes against Iranian energy infrastructure earlier today. The Iranians have made good on their word now. Saudi Arabia saw at least 4 ballistic missiles fired at them and multiple drones, though sources like the Saudi Gazette state that everything was intercepted and nothing hit home. Missiles and or drones targeted the east of the country, including Riyadh, the national capital. No word on if Iran will send more missiles now that all of the previously sent missiles have been intercepted.
It seems like everyone's losing, but someone might actually be winning. I call myself Gigaqian because I worked in finance in China, and I make videos to explain this interconnected world we live in. The breaking news is that Trump has officially delayed his visit to China by 5 to 6 weeks. This administration seems to like chess metaphors, so as a player, I'll give you one. China let us make the opening move. We then introduced a gambit with Iran. China did not accept, and now our pieces are starting to lose cohesion while China builds their advantage. The Hormuz situation has led the U.S. to ease sanctions on Russia, who now benefits from upward pressure in oil prices. NATO allies have not actively backed the U.S. in this conflict, and major allies like France and Germany have even publicly rebuffed the president, adding to the tensions. Add on top of that Joe Kent's resignation letter, and you have supporting evidence for a narrative that has been alive and well in China for some time. The U.S. did not get into this conflict just out of its own self-interest. You might have heard Trump recently requested China send ships to help secure the Strait of Hormuz. They did not accept this request, and it follows logic to consider he might have done this to measure what leverage he might have. And it wouldn't be the first time he backed out of a diplomatic meeting, or at least delayed one to try and regain said leverage. Reports even indicate that Iran might have a policy in place to require oil tankers to transact in RMB, China's national currency, in order to have safe passage through the strait. So, who has the leverage there? China's facing deflationary pressure, and tariffs act as a negative demand shock, so I'm not saying that the leverage is totally going in one direction or the other. The FOMC statement today announced an upward revision in its inflation outlook and a large contraction in non-farm payrolls. If you know anything about the dual mandate, that's bad. An extended period of high energy costs could tip us into a recession while keeping upward pressure on inflation. You might know we're then flirting with stagflation. So we can see that as time passes, the US seems to be losing leverage with China. So why delay? It seems like he won't leave Washington without a clear answer for a concerning question. How does this war end?
To those of you saying we're going to keep going until Iran surrenders, that's never. If you think Iran's going to surrender, you actually don't understand anything about Iran, Iranian culture, or Shia Islam. There will not be a surrender. In a war of attrition, the US is going to lose this one.
It's time people understand that, militarily speaking, the United States is undefeatable, like untouchable. We've had proof time and time again, and we're seeing it now with the war unfolding with Iran. When America decides to project power, the technological gap is overwhelming. No country on earth is realistically starting a war against the United States and expecting to win. And I think they know that. But here comes the question. So when our enemies cannot defeat us militarily, how do they defeat us? How do they try and destroy us? Well, this seems like a simple question, but I feel like most people are missing it because it's already happening. If you're patient enough, you don't need to destroy a nation from the outside. You can do it from the inside. And that's what our enemies have been doing to America for many years now. Control the media, control the narrative, control freedom of speech, shape how the next generation sees their country, their history, their culture, even their own identities. Move into the schools, break the family structure, because strong families create strong nations. They cannot let that happen. Encourage division, turn citizens against their own country. We know that a strong nation needs mentally resilient people. What are we seeing instead? We're seeing rising anxiety, rising depression, rising dependence on medication, and a whole generation being told that they're too fragile, they're too powerless, they're too tired, they're too broken to do anything. So when a society believes it's weak, it will eventually become weak. So again, when you cannot defeat a country's army, you try to defeat its spirit, and we're seeing it right now. And if Americans don't wake up to that reality, the biggest threat to the United States is not going to come from missiles and bombs. It's going to come from a country that slowly forgot how strong it actually is.
What is this? So does anyone know what the fuck is happening? An emergency meeting in Riyadh? Could this get bigger? People keep saying, don't panic, it's not gonna come over here, but I think the US should be worried. And I'm not talking about attacks here at home. We've got troops everywhere, and you know that if there are more casualties, things are going to escalate even faster. I'm not saying to panic, but like I've said before, stay alert, stay informed, pay attention. I don't know about you, but emergency meetings are terrifying to me, because why would you need an emergency meeting with foreign ministers and stuff like that? But I'm not sure who they are, so I'm not sure if they are like high up there, they can make decisions or not. If you guys know, please tell me. We're fucked.
Only 20 days into the Iran war, the world is already at the verge of total collapse. In Thailand, the Prime Minister has ordered civil servants to conserve energy by suspending overseas trips and using stairs instead of elevators. Vietnam has only energy reserves for up to 20 days, so it encourages employees to work from home. Gas stations in Hanoi are extremely crowded, with people queuing to buy petrol, and some are not even allowed to fill their tanks completely. Bangladesh relies on imports for 95% of their energy needs, so it has now shut down all universities across the country starting Monday. The most extreme case is India, where crematoriums are being forced to switch to wood because there is not enough gas to cremate bodies. What we are seeing essentially is an early sign of the world splitting into two types. One group have diversified its energy and achieved energy independence, whereas the other remains dependent on energy imports, lacking the ability to break free from fossil fuel, and eventually left vulnerable in global disruptions. Do you think your country is prepared for this?
Gas prices today in Georgia, in my area, $3.89. Baby, this is getting ridiculous. I cannot take the high gas prices. And before people that get in the comments and say, well, I'd rather pay $3.89 than whatever else it is in your area, baby, it is high for all of us. This is out of the norm for all of us and what we are used to paying. So whether you're paying $3.89 like me, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on up, if it gets to that, it's still high for all of us. This is not normal, okay? It's out of the norm for all of us. As we know, different states, their economies are different, okay? So please don't get in here saying, well, I'd rather pay that than this. Again, it is out of the norm right now for a lot of us and what we are used to paying. I can't express it enough. And I'm going to say it again. I don't want to pay $3.89 a gallon for gas. I don't.
While Trump keeps us in this war that America has not chosen to go into, well, the common American citizen, and where we can't afford it, Iran is strategically doing what they're doing to put us in this chokehold. Mind you, I, citizen from the US, do not agree with this war in Iran. But I digress. We can't afford it. Gas prices and grocery prices are up. But let's not forget the Epstein cases. The government shut down. It's been going for at least a month now. Cuba has been at least 2 weeks, going on 3 weeks without any fuel because Mr. Cheeto Head is over in Venezuela acting like he is the president and would withholding petroleum from Cuba, which is where they normally get their petroleum from. They have bombed their processing refineries so that if people bring petroleum, they can't even process it to use it. The genocide in Gaza is still happening. Congo, Haiti, the detention centers, okay? And people are reporting that in said detention centers, especially in Texas, they are segregating young girls where nobody has access to them except ICE agents and the Epstein's files, okay? 2026 primaries are in season. When you're out there voting, just think about if you want a P3O Epstein genocidal Cheeto head nutcase and all his demonic minions to be placed back in office. You want that to happen? Vote the same. If you don't, I would highly look into the new candidates that will stop all this madness. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Iran is completely destroyed. Their military is gone, is what we keep being told. Today, Israel and the US, we hit the world's largest gas field, which is in Iran. And almost immediately, Iran retaliated and hit one in Qatar. That's the TikTok.
He said they destroyed Iran's military, their navy, their ships, and that there's nothing left to be destroyed. And yet Iran says, bring it on, baby. Bring it. And the Strait of Hormuz is closed. They're not giving up anytime soon. They said they don't want any talks. They don't want any action. They just want to keep going. They're fighting for their country. They're fighting for their sovereignty. They're fighting for their independence. They're fighting for what was lost.
I have some massive fucking news for you this morning. Oh, fuck. So the war just took another major escalation today, March 18th, because Israel just struck Iran's Pars gas field. The Pars gas field in Iran is the largest natural gas field in the entire world, and many countries rely on this gas from Iran. And Israel just struck it today, up in flames. Now, according to Axios, the United States approved of Israel's strike. So the United States knew about this, and we gave it the green light. Now, we're seeing this at the pump here, right? Oil prices are the highest they've been in over an entire year for Americans, but other people across the world are soon going to face the largest energy crisis in world history that we know of. That is how severe this is fucking getting at such a fucking rapid rate. Iran, of course, has already said they're going to retaliate against the Gulf nations and start striking critical energy infrastructure over there. Real quick, Purple Populous Show, 16 episodes are out now. Click the link in my bio. It's $5 a month, or comment link, or comment show. Episodes 17 and 18 are coming soon. It's fucking amazing. Law-informed show. Remember to comment link right now. Now, what is Trump doing about all of this? Well, recently he's called upon NATO and our allies to help us. Our allies, almost every single one, said no, including Germany, France, the United Kingdom, Australia, Japan, South Korea. All of them said no. So now Trump today is saying that he may pull us out of NATO. He's threatened that a lot. But it's kind of funny that he's not getting his way. People are standing up to him worldwide. And now he's continuing to isolate us even more. Shit is getting really bad, really fast. I've said that a lot, but it's getting worse really fast, I guess I should say. I'll give you more news later. Much love. I'm Hunter Howell.
Iran is now demanding war reparations from the United States and Israel. Whether Iran actually gets it or not is another story, but with oil prices and commodity prices skyrocketing, shouldn't the whole world be demanding war reparations from the US government and Israel? Trump actually demanded that Iran surrender unconditionally. Look at that. This doesn't even sound like Trump's style. Shouldn't he be the one demanding that Iran pay compensation for the bombed U.S. military bases first? The 30 years younger Kamala saying that if the U.S. and Israel refuse to pay, Iran will seize equivalent assets. If they can't seize them, they will destroy assets of equal value. What a revenger, right? So Trump can't win without sending in ground troops. But if he does, Iran is stronger than Afghanistan. It could drag on for 20 years like Vietnam and still end in failure. Yet Trump absolutely must win. So, my friend, just wait and see. Before this year's midterm elections, Trump will definitely redefine what unconditional surrender means. Trump will just announce victory and then it is a win. That's winology. Iran must be completely confused. First being invaded and then be declared surrendered unconditionally. The Iranian president clearly understands this. On March 11th, he stated explicitly that even if negotiations happen, they must be guaranteed by credible major powers. He's right? Based on the US government's credit, it couldn't even buy a loaf of bread on credit at the store. Guess who has more credibility than the US government? Everyone or someone?